No matter what you call it, I didn't have it. And perhaps you didn't either. A bat mitzvah is what I mean. Or as so many now refer to it, a bi mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah, beit mitzvah, they mitzvah. And this may be true of both men and women who grew up in the Reform movement, when confirmation was emphasized as the coming-of-age ceremony. And it was especially true for women who might not have had any other option even after bar mitzvah had been reintroduced. Jewish law notes that the age of majority is 13 and a day for boys and 12 and a day for girls. That change in status, being responsible for fulfilling mitzvot, becomes incumbent upon an individual regardless of whether one has had any accompanying public recognition, with or without Torah, party or not. Becoming a legally responsible young adult may not require either, but tell that to a girl whose brothers had both. Today marks 100 years and a day since Judith Kaplan, the daughter of Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan and Lena Kaplan, became a bat mitzvah. Rabbi Kaplan's name may be familiar to you for his groundbreaking book, Judaism as a Civilization, which evolved into the Reconstructionist movement, an offshoot of conservative Judaism. His congregation, the Society for Advancement of Judaism, is still located on West 86th Street. Last week, in a presentation to Congregation Beth Israel of San Diego, entitled Bat Mitzvah Girls Sparked a Revolution, Rabbi Carol Balin, Professor Emerita of History at HUC, and author of a forthcoming book on the history of bat mitzvah, noted that Rabbi Kaplan had two reasons for introducing this liturgical innovation in 1922. The first is that the 19th Amendment had passed 2 years earlier, and with suffrage in the public milieu, introducing bat mitzvah was a way to offer a corrective to women's exclusion from Jewish practice. And the other was, as a father of 4 girls, well, Rabbi Kaplan really had 4 additional reasons in mind. Rabbi Balin noted that while Judith's father read from the Torah that morning, Judith did read from her own chumash in front of the entire congregation. And even in the short years until her sisters came of age after her, the bat mitzvah ritual continued to evolve. By the time her youngest sister turned 12, she was called to read from the Torah. As with so many firsts, over the course of a century, the path forward wasn't linear and wasn't always smooth. Some of the girls who had a bat mitzvah did it with their twin brothers. So we may assume, had they not been part of a pair, that they would not have gotten their due. As part of the exhibition, Bat Mitzvah Comes of Age, the video archive features a woman from Wheeling, West Virginia, who spoke about how her congregation reverted to its familiar habits once her bat mitzvah ceremony concluded. And by that she meant that the only public role for women for a long while after her ceremony was to light Shabbat candles on the bima. So her experience, while singular and important personally, did not open doors to the other women in her immediate community. In her research, Rabbi Balin shared an artifact from a North Hollywood congregation from 1950. It's a flyer which was posted in the religious school for all to see and read. and I have to quote it for its irresistible and provocative message. It reads, "To all the girls of the Sunday school and Hebrew school, can girls do a job as well as boys? History says yes." And that affirmation was underscored and followed by an exclamation point. It continued, "Remember Miriam, the sister of Moses? Deborah, the prophetess? Judith, who slew Holofernes? Modern times say yes. Remember Henrietta Zold, the pioneer women in Israel. Remember Florence Nightingale, Madame Curie." And this poster concluded with a congregational invitation to the bat mitzvah of a girl who was clearly already mythic in the estimation of those who stood behind her. And what a remarkable endorsement of a woman of any age. More than 20 years later, Rabbi Sally Priesand was ordained a rabbi by Hebrew Union College, the first woman rabbi. And just for the record, she did not have a bat mitzvah either. And other women followed. 2 years later, Sandy Sasso was ordained by the Reconstructionist movement in 1974. After Amy Eilberg was ordained by the conservative movement in 1985, I had a male classmate who left HUC and went to JTS precisely because the conservative seminary had become more egalitarian. And in 2009, Rabbi Sarah Hurwitz stepped into her role in the Orthodox community as a rabbah, a title that she chose. In another interview, also recorded by Moving Traditions, a woman noted that her bat mitzvah ceremony was held the same year as Rabbi Priesand's ordination. Recalling how she was influenced by that contemporaneous historic moment, she remembered thinking, "I can be Sally too." This year, half a century later, we also honor Rabbi Priesand's 50th year as a rabbi and its impact on women and men and on Judaism. Her ordination opened the door to Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman, Emanu-El's first woman rabbi. And Rabbi Sobel is to be commended for welcoming her into a leadership position when women were still finding it hard to find placement in a congregation. His confidence in her and Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman's success brought many wonderful colleagues into this sanctuary. And permit me, I want to take a moment to name them, because over the last 35 years, they touched your lives with their scholarship, wisdom, and compassion. And so I want to honor them by calling them by name. Rabbi Nadia Gold, Rabbi Ali Tick Brill, Rabbi Sarah Sapadin, Rabbi Rachel Gross Prince, Rabbi Sarah Reines, Rabbi Hannah Goldstein, Rabbi Lisa Kingston, Rabbi Stephanie Crawley, Rabbi Tarlin Rabizadeh, Rabbi Shira Gluck, as well as Cantor Lori Corson and soon-to-be Cantor Sarah Anderson, all of whom have taught and blessed this community. And even though I am in the earliest generation of those I just named, because so many had preceded me, I didn't have to imagine myself as Sally. I had dozens of models, because Judith Kaplan and the girls who followed her weren't satisfied to remain on the margins. They wanted to use their skills, and so they lobbied for more. When Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan invited his daughter to the Bima in 1922, no one would imagine how Jewish life would grow as women claimed their space and reclaimed their voice. A girl who stands before her community and leads them learns this message: you are an essential part of the fabric of Jewish life. You are seen, your voice matters. And here's another way we have come to communicate this to all. Because of Emanu-El's historic devotion to the Union Prayer Book and our long-standing preference to use English rather than Hebrew, for the longest time, the societal changes in the larger Jewish world were not reflected in our own liturgical expression. With the introduction of a new prayer book, adding the matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, alongside Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, makes an enduring statement that women are not simply the silent partner, the woman behind the man. For the first time, women are able to see our ancestral lineage asserted in black and white and not simply assumed. That doesn't mean it has been easy. There will always be those who judge, those who think that they know what's best for a woman. And we are learning daily about women who were denied involvement in communal leadership, for others denied advancement in academic life or in the pulpit, women who endured harassment and worse, just to be true to themselves. Taking our rightful place in a religious context has not been a fairy tale come true. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that equality in religion makes equality in our larger society more possible. But it remains the shared responsibility of women and men to ensure that all voices participate in this dialogue. The model that began with Judith Kaplan to correct what is lacking continues now through each one of us. As women move from the margins closer to the center of Jewish ritual life, we are especially obliged to speak up for those who remain on the fringes of society and for equality in every realm. And while we celebrate a century of change, let us also do more to create an equitable and safe space. Hearing the Megillah this week reminds us of the challenging assertion Mordechai put to Esther, urging her to act. "Who knows," he said, "perhaps you have attained your royal position for just such a time." But mitzvah gave us standing, liberated our voices, recognized our gifts to Jewish life. In the chain of tradition stretching from Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, to Esther, to Judith Kaplan, Rabbi Sally Presand, and Rabbi Linda Henry Goodman, may we feel the ol mitzvot, the weight of responsibility to carry on the work they began, and in the words of Rabbi Amy Eilberg, to make it safe for all to be heard, recognized, and welcome. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so.